Hello and welcome. This is a short tutorial on how to play a little bit with the background and how can we do some scripting using prefabs, how to create a prefab and how to deploy it. Let's start with at the beginning with how to create a background. There are two methods I indicated uh, in the hands-on that's posted in the blackboard. Two ways to create the background. The first one is to use tile map, and I posted here a link with a very good tutorial how to do that. It includes many things. But if you look at the tile map, you will create a very large number of tiles and sprites. If you want to do something handy very quickly, what you can do, so let's say that you want to create grass in the background here. You just right click, create empty game object with, let's say, background holder. So basically you will have a parent of empty game object, and we will try to get the grass sprite or whatever background you opt to, okay, to move there. So let's grab the grass and put it here, okay. And you can, as you can see, the sprite is here. And what you can do is you can copy and paste and list things next to each other. So here, this sprite is very large, it's pretty good, as a matter of fact. If the resolution you didn't like the resolution, you could make it a little bit smaller if you want to make it it fits better. And anyway, you can copy and paste it. And the idea, when you copy it, another copy will here. So if you want to align it very well, hold on with the V key, and you will see that there are some kind of corners or in the middle. So try to reach with the corner that is very close to the next one and snip it to the next one. This way you will get both of them very well aligned, as you can see here. You can also copy both of them, or I can maybe copy both of them, this and this, and I say copy V, and you can copy both of them, and as you can see, you can deal with them as one object. Again, hold on the V key and snip it here. Now you can maybe copy all of them to, I'm trying to cover the whole scene. So here again, hold on V key and come and snip it up there. Now if you look at the game here, you will see it's full of the whole thing. Now we have all the background ready, as you can see here. One thing you need to pay attention is that it's a good idea to bring all of this to some background layer rather than have it in the front, or maybe it will hide something else. So you can do something like this. You go additional, you select all of the sprites of all the copy of the grass, and you come here and you see add sorting layer, and of course I have already some layers. So the lower the layer, for example 0 1, so they will be cascading at the top of each other. The one in the front will be the higher number. So it's a good idea to choose a background, or you create something in the background layer. Here I already created one. You can create a layer like this, and you give it a name, for example, and so on and so forth. I don't need this, so I can remove it. I can remove, add whatever I want. Currently I have background layer, and of course there's a default layer very early at the beginning, background player. So player is in front of background in front of the default, and so on and so forth. Now I can select all of them, okay, and select them all in the, let's say, background layer, okay. And the order is 0, you can put 1 or 0. Make sure that anything else, when you bring some sprite or some player to the scene, that it will not get hidden by the ground. This is just a warning. Okay, so if we come right, and let me move a dinosaur here, and you will see that here. Let me The dyno is not showing as you can see here. Why? Because by default it's in the default layer. So bring it in front by having it in the player layer. Once you put in the player layer, now it will showing up as you can see as normal. You might need to make it a little bit smaller. Maybe bring it here in front of the camera, and here is the, as you can see, the scene. Um, so this is for the layer. Now it's time for doing something else related to a prefab. Now the assignment is suggesting that you do a prefab, which is a star, and the star basically it's a falling star. Basically is it's suggesting that you bring a star here, okay, and this one I will change this star. So we'll create what's so called a prefab or prefabricated object so that we can reuse it in the scene. So here I will call it falling star, okay. And basically, if you look, it's not showing again, so you need to make sure that you bring this to the player layer or something in front of the ground layer. So I will put it in the player here, and it's layer. Now it's showing up as you can see. Let's make it smaller a little bit, okay. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this. Of course, you can add animation, animator, everything you want, but you need to build a simple game object that it can be reused during the game. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a script to this game object so that it make it falling. So so I can, let me here go to asset, and this is my I will go to scripts, and let me create a folder for this scene. I will call it game, I call it game world, so I will call it game world here, and I will go inside, create a script as you can see here, and I will call it star or falling, let's say star script. Okay, I just falling star script to make sure that I'm spelling it correctly. Okay, after I will open it. If you double click it, you will open it. It will open as you can see, falling star script. Now I'm going to add the script to the falling star game object. And here the script. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically copy, basically copying the code here, which basically identify the position of this star and try to make it fall or move up down in a certain fashion. It could move a little bit tilted in a diagonal way, which is fine, I guess. So I will copy the code here, and let's go over the code. I will a little bit here. The direction is downward, so the movement of the star will be going down. I have a reference to the sprite renderer. The speed is 10, and here you are going to having get component sprite renderer as you can see here. Okay, let me take this away. So I'm using random to generate from 9 at 8. So here I'm creating a random position in the X and keep Y and Z as they are. And afterward I am also generating a random falling part down as you can see. So I'm changing the dynamic X, and after that I am telling the update method to start working based on that. Here's, I think I misspelled some of the keywords here, and here I just say get component. I think I misspelled it, so make sure that you have a right code there. Okay, so let's see what will happen if we start uh, this script. So if we run the scene, I will expect that the star will take a position somewhere here, and after that start falling in either downward in some direction, random direction. You can see that, as you can see here. Of course, I can make more than one copy, and to make things a little bit, as you can see, it will be going down, as you can see. If I run again, okay. So that's what I wanted. So let's adjust a little bit the falling star. Make it a little bit smaller so that it will look like a fallen star. And if I run again, you'll see that it will go down here. Of course, you can replace that with any sprite you want. Um, now the star or this game object is ready to be used. Okay, and as you can see, instead of having copying here the game object and reusing it manually, you can do that through the code itself. So how can you do that? In a second, we will see how can we do that in a second. So the first step to do or create a prefab is after we finalize the object, make sure it looks nice, it has the animation that we need, it has the behavior that we expect. We create a folder called prefab. You go to asset and you create a folder prefab. I already create a prefab, and if you notice I have many prefabs here. So all what you need to do is to grab the falling star and move it down here so that you consider it a prefab. Once you do that, now you will see that the falling star becomes a reusable object. You can use it anywhere in the code, and safely you can remove it from here now. There's no need to have it here. Okay, so the next step is typically in this scene you want the stars to be spawned from different direction, from different position, and so on and so forth. So what you can do is create a you need to run the code randomly. So if you want to do that, you need to create an empty game object and call it, let's say, star spawner, let's say, or manager. Sometimes they call spawner, sometimes they call it manager. It's up to you what exactly you want. And in the same token, you need to create a script for this purpose. So you go to the scripts also. I have it here in game world, and I will create a new script here, and I will call it star spawner script. Once you create the script, you can open it. Okay, and of course let's attach it to the star spawner game object. So here's the star spawner script. You just drag it here, you have it here, and I have already opened it here. So the first thing you need to do is you can use a public or a serialized field for the game object that you want to spawn. Well, in this case, let's call it star game object, or this is you can consider it as prefab one. Okay, let's call it prefab one. Okay, and what you're gonna do is once if you look at the code in the or sample code that I suggested that you're gonna use, basically is you have a star as a public or serialized fields, and afterward every 100 frames we want to spawn a star. Instead we can spawn a star every second, for example. So um, the way you do it is you need to do that in the update, because update is done very frequently, and at the same time you can use a simple counter, for example enter, to keep track of the seconds. Okay, and seconds start from 0, and here all what you need to do is to check the current timing. Okay, whether the time is equal the second or not. So you need also another let's say double or float, let's say, and you'll say my time, let's say, and basically what you need to do is to add my time plus equal time dot delta time. So here you add the time, okay, and if my time is equal the second, okay, of course you can at the beginning you need to convert this to integer so that you can assign together. If they are the same, so you need to spawn new star, and you can need to increment the second so that you check next time for second. So every second you need to spawn a star. Now how do you spawn a star? I think in the code here you can use instantiate method. There's instantiate, and you need to put the prefab 1 for that, and you'll see that every second there will be a star that will be spawned and directed in a certain direction. Now if I save and I go back, you will see that in the star spawner script there is a prefab 1, so you need to go to the prefab folder, where the prefab folder is here, and click it again, okay, and you'll see that I want to have the falling star moving as prefab 1. Okay, so it should be, here we go, and you can run so that you can see the result. Now you can run, and as you can see the stars are falling in a certain direction, left, down, right. You can look at them here, how they are created. Of course, you can control how often you want to create the stars. You can also you can add more code, because as you can see here, the falling stars are increasing, and when they go beyond the boundary of the game, what will happen? They do what? They continue to be exist. So you need to do what? To do some kind of destroying them, which is a cleaning process. So let's do cleaning. To do a cleaning, you can go to the falling star script itself and have, let's say, a checkup here in the translation, in the position, by saying, for example, if um, transform so one way is to edit the falling star script by adding check boundary, where we could, as we can see, this is a falling star, so we know that it's going down, so we can check against, let's say, the position in the y, whether it's less than 0 or not, where we can destroy the object itself. So destroy method is a method that is used to destroy the game object itself. Pay attention that you cannot use this rather than game object. Game object is a reference to the game object that is holding the script. This is a reference that refers to the script itself. So it's important to destroy the game object rather than this. Why? Because it will remove it from the memory. Now we can come here and try and see what will happen when we do that. If we run, and let's switch to the scene, you'll see, yeah, I messed up by specifying not good or a bad, let's say, threshold for that. So I can stop it here and I come back, and I could say, for example, less than 0, I can say less than -10, for example. And if you do that, you will see that the stars will be falling down as expected. And here, as you can in the left, they are what? Destroyed once they reach -10, so that we can clean things, as you can see here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another prefab to use it here. So let's see how can we do it in a very quick way. So I will go also to the spawner, and as you can see I call it star spawner, even though you can call it only spawner rather star spawner, because I'm going to spawn also another game object, public game object, and I'll call it, let's say, prefab 2. Okay, and after that I want to instantiate the second prefab, so I will have two prefabs. One is the first prefab 20 instantiated, and the second one is the prefab 2. Now let's go back to the inspector, and you will see that here we have the second prefab. Let me pick another prefab. I have many prefab previously done. Okay, so we will set the other prefab here in the spawner. So let's proceed with the zombie, this zombie. So I will put it here. So I have two prefabs. So when I run them, so both of them will be spawned based on the code. And as you can see here, I'm creating as many zombies as possible. I didn't handle killing the second or destroying the second zombie, as you can see here. Okay, so I can stop it. So how can I resolve that? I can resolve that with specifying, this is an idea here, specifying number of prefab I need, and how can I set them up in a certain position. So if you look at the zombie here, he will try to move left and right. This is the way it was programmed to go, and when it reached in the end, you could goes back and so on and so forth. But it's stuck in the same position as you can see here. Now instead, what I can do, I can decide how many objects. So I can say, for example, I need a zombie count, and let's say I need 5 of them, or let's say 3 of them. Okay, and what I can do here, I can have a loop where I can instantiate the second zombie from different positions. So I can do that not in the update, because I need to do that only once. So I can say for integer, of course I can have it 3 times, but integer I equals 0, I less than zombie count, and you instantiate the second one. Now you have the chance to position the zombie wherever you want by using the second parameter, and also you can position control the orientation of the zombie itself. So as you can see, if we look here, we want to put it moving upward, down, and third, so we can have it in different positions. He will be moving horizontally, so we need to specify some place in the y direction so that we can play with it. So I would say, for example, here, um, let's get the prefab object here. I can say, okay, let's put it on new vector 3, and for the third parameter, it's gonna be quaternions dot identity, which means I'm not gonna going to rotate it at all. So the vector here is gonna be where do I want to stay to place it. So if you need to gauge exactly the height in the y-axis. Let me decide what is the range for x and y, so I can define an integer array for the y, for example. Let's say the x first, the x position, and it will be somehow between, because I have only two values, which is extreme left or extreme right, it depends. So it could be -10 and 10, and he will start moving the other direction on that. For the y is gonna be somehow in between -8 and 8 for the y. I could say, for example, the extreme will be for y is maybe minus 8 and 8. We will adjust accordingly when we see the run. Okay, so here's the position will be var position equal new vector. Let's define a vector here, and you use vector 3, yes. For the x, either minus 10 or 10, so one of them. So I can say random dot range and either 0 or 1. So I need to have between 0 and 2, either 0 and 1. So either minus 10 or 10. So this is for x. For y, it could be a range between minus 8 and 8. Could be any places minus 8 and 8. So you will see random dot range and y of 0 up to y of 1. And the z value will be 0, of course. It seems to me walk. And here I will replace this with position. Now this way we will generate count of 3 zombies, and each one will be moving left and right, and this will happen in the start. And the position is set as you can see here. Let's see how does it go when we run. Okay, so we specify the range of x to be either minus 8 and 8, so that he can go extremely from far left or from far right. Minus 8 far left, 8 far right, and y will be minus 8 and 8 top down. So one of these will be for the second prefab. And I have a loop, and as you can see, we generated a random x value, random y value, and z is 0. And I include this position in the instantiate method. Now if you run, you will see I expect that the stars will be falling and the zombie will be moving left and right, as you can see here. The third zombie, I cannot see it, but I can put it here. He is a little bit down, or he's identical to one of these. Let me stop it and see where's he. I have 3 zombie, 1, 2, 3, and here we go. It's a little easy, it's a little bit far away, and I can see that they are oriented in the same thing. That means there's something wrong in the code. So let's check the code again. So here's the random variable. Oh, okay, I see. Here's is choosing 0, 2, which means either the value 0 or 1. So I do want the 0 and 1, by the way. I just want the value minus 8 or 8. So let me surround this um, with the array x, so that he can choose, instead of 0 and 1, he will choose minus 8 and 8. And I can make it a little bit bigger, minus 10 and 10, for example. And in the y direction, I am satisfied. You choose either y of 0, which is minus 8 to 8. Now if I go back and run again, here we go. As you can see, the stars are falling and the zombie are moving left and right as expected. Notice that it seems to me the boundary is ending here and here, which is minus 10 and 10. You can increase it. Also, you'll see that one of the zombie is a little bit big, as you can see, and he is going beyond um, the game. He's up there, so you can adjust it accordingly. So basically you can say, okay, in the y you should not have, you could have maybe minus 10 and up to 6, or you can adjust what you call it, the zombie height. Now if we run, we can see that all of them within the play and the stars are falling. And in the same token, you can add as many as you want. You can control them, and also you can use or apply timers so that when they are using. Notice that the 3 zombies are kept as a fixed number, In real scenario, you might use the same concept of spawning at a certain random time and destroying the game object when you see a certain kind of event. Notice that the zombie, they have animation. The star, I didn't add animation, but you could add as many animation as you could. Okay, so this is for this hands-on. This is all for this tutorial. Thank you very much.